If you've ever visited Italy, then you know that food and wine are two of the most important things to the Italian people. And I'm not Italian, but those are also two very important things to me. And so now that I've taken a fallow deer here in Grondona, Italy, I want to create some sort of Italian dish with it. Lucky for me, I have talented chef friends in high places. First, my good friend Iris Rossi. She runs the Franchi Food Academy. The other is my new friend Giacomo Del Aglio. He's not only the executive chef here at our hunting lodge, but he's also the proprietor of the restaurant Locanda del Dino. I've asked the two of them to help me make something special from my fallow deer, and I am excited about it. I want to know what you want to do and what you want to do with my fallow deer.
So this is a traditional dish that we are going to use for filling the tortelli.
Okay. Tortelli, which is a pasta.
It's a pasta, yes.
Okay.
But the first things before we start to cook is, of course, drink a little of wine, right?
I'd like to point out it's only 11 o'clock in the morning. The two of them explain that it's an unwritten rule that you can't be in the kitchen in Italy without at least a little bit of wine. And this reminds me of two classic sayings. The first is, it may only be 11 o'clock here, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? And the other is, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. This is my favorite part. Only in Italy can you get away with
the last one.
Drinking wine in the kitchen at 11 o'clock. I don't know, maybe people do that at home, but not me.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Salute.
Salute. Giacomo has been making a roast from part of my fallow deer for almost 24 hours, and it smells incredible. It's now time for the first step of this meal, but first, some more wine. Cheers again.
Cheers.
Yeah. We haven't even gotten through the first step yet. We're already pouring more wine. Okay, on to that first step. I shred and finely chop the fallow deer roast, add some pepper and some salt, and quite a bit of olive oil. Fallow deer is very lean, and the olive oil adds fat and some flavor.
What do you think? It's okay missing salt, or I trust you? What do you think?
I don't know, you'd have to tell me, please.
Come on, please. 3 tongues are better than 1, right? Tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Missing salt, I think.
Did you just say 3 tongues are better than 1?
Yeah, 3 tongue.
I'm gonna leave that one alone. I'm not gonna say anything about that. It is true, but I'm not gonna say anything.
No.
Yes. I'm in a small town in Italy being schooled by 2 amazing chefs on how to make a type of tortellini out of my fallow deer. I have diced the roasted meat, added salt, pepper, and some olive oil, and now we add some sautéed spinach. And then it's time for what might be my favorite ingredient, cheese. How much of this do you put in here?
It's up to you. Don't be shy.
One thing about the Italians is they are not shy about the cheese. We add lots of ricotta and lots of Parmesan.
Keep going.
Keep going, keep going. And while we're at it, let's have a little more wine.
Okay, typically pasta has 3 ingredients.
Okay.
Eggs, flours, and olive oil, and a little bit of salt.
That's it?
That's it.
Actually, that's 4 ingredients, but who's counting? We have had a little bit of wine after all. But regardless, the point is that pasta is pretty darn simple to make. Crack a couple eggs, mix in a little flour, pour in some olive oil, add a little bit of salt, and the next thing you know, you are well on your way to making the food that Italy is arguably most famous for. It's thought that Italians began making pasta sometime around the 13th or 14th century. At this time, pasta was eaten dry and with the hands. In the coming centuries, thousands of different recipes involving cooked pasta mixed with different ingredients were created and perfected. Today, there are 310 distinct different kinds of pasta and over 1,300 different known names for them. Names like fettuccine, spaghetti, ravioli, and tortello, which is what we're making here with fresh fallow deer proudly provided by yours truly. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I like this game a lot. The next step was to hand knead the dough. Then Chef Giacomo breaks out the roller and we begin to flatten it out. But apparently he didn't think I had the muscle for it, so he brought out the bigger roller, and then finally he just took over completely because obviously I wasn't getting it done in a proper or timely fashion. So I just drank some more wine. Once the dough was rolled out into the proper thickness, it was cut into squares, and then we stuffed those squares with the roast fallow deer mix. And this is where the simple pasta becomes tortello. And both of them showed me the trick to folding them just right, but this was the step where you could definitely tell the difference between the master's work and that of the apprentice.
This is what it's supposed to look like, and this is what mine looks like. It looks like Frankenstein pasta.
No.
It may not be pretty, but it'll still taste good.
Like mine, look.
Next, we drop our little creations into some boiling water for a few minutes, and while we're doing that, we brown quite a bit of butter with some fresh sage and a little bit of salt. Then we toss it all together, and of course we add some more cheese on top, because we are in Italy after all, and then the moment of truth has finally arrived.
Buon appetito.
Oh, that is so good.
This is your animal, huh?
That's my fallow deer.
Exactly.
My Italian slam, right there, now in tortello.
Tortello, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's possible that the thing I love most about traveling is that it gives me time to reflect, and in the case of this trip, a chance to heal. As I walk these streets and I contemplate what life will be like without my mom in it, and I think about the generations of people that have lived in these buildings in this small town, I have no choice but to face the simple fact that one day, life will end for all of us at some point. We all live and we all die. A lot of us convince ourselves falsely that we're gonna live forever, or at least till we're 90 or 100. But the fact is that a lot of us don't make it that long, my mom included. And my mom's death has reminded me that life is often way too short. So call your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister while you have them. Call your friends, visit them, have dinner more often, celebrate birthdays and holidays together, and don't miss one. Because the day may come when you won't have another chance. And you might end up regretting the chances that you missed to laugh and love with the ones you love. Because none of us is guaranteed tomorrow. I've been on the road my entire adult life. Between music and hunting, I have been all over the place. And everywhere I go, I try to sit down somewhere local, a dive bar or whatever, and have a beer. Because in the time it takes you to drink a beer, you'd be surprised what you can take in or what you can think about. And in the case of this beer right here, I'm thinking about these old buildings because they've been here since the 10th, 11th, 12th century. And they're gonna long outlast me. And it occurs to me because of these buildings that life is short. It really is. And you better make it the best you can because we're not here for very long. And then I wonder, how many people have sat in this square right here, outside this market, and had a beer and thought about the same thing? I don't know, maybe nobody, but that's what I'm thinking about right now. And man, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be alive, and I'm happy to be in Italy. Cheers.